Hey everybody, hope you're having a good Thursday afternoon. I am Randy Pratt. I am the president here at New Leaf Publishing Group and Master Books, and look forward to jumping on calls or answering some questions, I guess. So hopefully I can see some comments today. Last week I couldn't see any comments and it was black, so at least I can see a screen, but I'm not seeing any comments yet. So all right, well, I'm going to jump in and answer some questions and see how this goes. Mama Bird says, someone asked a question yesterday. I've asked myself, well, what age do you recommend kids starting to learn about computers and technology? That's a good question. I don't know the qualifier on that. It's more, I guess it's more, if it's learning, I would say probably about third grade, because at that point a student is able to read. And so I think third grade is probably a good place when you're talking about using computers more in education. I think what you have to be careful with younger minds is that it's more the dopamine and the reward. How is it? Like, I would be careful about gamifications, games, anything that's going to give them, even like videos that move too fast and stuff like that, short-circuiting the brain at younger ages. So I'd be careful that way. But from a learning standpoint, generally keyboarding and stuff like that, I think around third grade would be appropriate. Kristen is on. Kristen's probably more qualified on that question than I am, for sure. Okay, Nicole says, my 5-year-old daughter who loves schoolwork and can be such a sweetheart, but also has a lot of attitude, and her little self recently did something completely unacceptable. She attempted to break into her younger brother's 3-year-old's piggy bank to take money. She also has earned money from her jobs, and it's not hurting for anything, so I'm not sure why. I'm at a bit of a loss and obviously very disappointed. Any advice or encouragement or anything would be greatly appreciated. Super good question, Nicole. Hey, when I was a younger parent, one of the things that would happen was I would absolutely panic about my kids told a lie, they stole something, they did something wrong. All I could see is the police coming, them as adults being arrested, having to appear on Fox News to talk about my children's bad behavior, all of these things. And I feel that as I've gotten older, I've changed a little bit in my philosophy. My children are little sinners just like me. Now they're big sinners just like me. And I have indeed stolen something in my life. And I think the approach that I use now is much different. It's more, what I want to do is have a conversation about the type of person who steals. And is that the brand that you want people to know you by? Because when people trust you, if you have integrity and you have honor, if you are known to be a person of your word and you do the right thing, there's benefits to having a good brand. If you're known as somebody who lies, who cheats, who steals, who will stab you in the back, those type of things, that is that's like the brand where it hurts you, right? And more than just even a spiritual component is quality of life when you're there, right? And so we have choices to make. So in this case, your daughter is making a choice. She's motivated because she's a sinful little creature, right? Rebellion is bound up in the heart of a child. Foolishness is a childish behavior. And so we approach from a coach standpoint to say, listen, here's what's happening. The choice you made began to create the brand. And so where before I would have trusted you, suddenly I don't trust you, because now I'm wondering, what kind of person you want to be and how you want to invest yourself. And so that would be the conversation I would start with. Now, there may be consequences because that may represent a heart issue. And so, hey, you're going to write the book of Proverbs or write portions of Proverbs so that you understand about wisdom and correction and all of those good things. But I think understanding if I do things in my life, how Jen is in correcting me. And how I appreciate his love. He approaches it from a love standpoint, and in how he brings me around to understand consequences and all of that. So that would be my approach now. Would be to really go back and explain to your 5-year-old. She's young, so she's not going to understand the brand concept, but when you see people, how do you want people to look at you? Do you want them to see you as a person who could be trusted, or do you want them to be a person who can't be trusted? And this is what people who can't be trusted look like, and people who can be trusted look like. And I want you to succeed in life, so I want you to be a person who can be trusted. I want people to look at her and say, wow, she is a person of her word. She has integrity. She's honest. She loves the Lord and desires to take care of others. And we know that people who sow seed reap good seed, and people who sow bad seed reap bad things. So that's probably the angle I would suggest. Mrs. Black, how do I teach myself something I don't even know well myself? Leverage, Mrs. Black. Find somebody who does, or utilize tools that can. There are so many good tools available to us now that we can understand something. I've recently been using AI tools, and one of the things that I use it for is specifically something like this. I had a page that somebody was asking me to review, and I took it and I pointed it, I took a picture, and then I asked the question to please help me understand the content. And it was like having a tutor to help me work through. It was a theological issue, but it was actually really interesting. And then I could check it and qualify it. But I'm with so much information available to us now, if we know the right keywords to ask the right questions, I think we can get help on pretty much anything, right? I have done some major home repair projects. I just installed an entire bathroom off of YouTube. Like, I did not know how to do a tub, a shower, all the intricacies of the vents and all of that, and I was able to teach myself off from videos, which is absolutely insane to me, but that's the world we live in. And so I say leverage. You may not understand it, but there are plenty of resources that can either teach it or give you insights. Christina, my son is in 5th grade, struggles with multiplication, wondering if you have any suggestions on helping him. Something that's worked well for us in the past, I had a software programmer who actually developed flashcards and kind of a system. We've used programs before, like Math Blaster was an old one. I think it was like quarter horse math or something, racehorse math, where they would do math facts, and that was helpful to just begin the drilling process, right? It was kind of the gamification, but it made it exciting enough that I could learn. And some students struggle with memorization and stuff like that, and so they need the repetition. It takes longer to build the connection, and that's something that I would probably recommend. Also, we sell Right Brain flashcards, and Right Brain flashcards are a little different in that they show you the work completed. And then when something's missing, the concept is your brain sees a completed puzzle, and so when it sees something missing, your brain will complete the puzzle. So the Right Brain flashcard shows you the answer. 6 times 6 equals 36. And you use a flashcard where you actually are seeing it and saying it. And then when you change it around, your brain will actually fill in the part that's missing because it sees the completed picture. And so it's a different way of memorizing, so to speak. It's more, say, of a picture memory. All right, Bates Academy. Do you mind sharing how your family navigated learning to drive in vehicles? I have 8 children back to back. Driving school is very expensive. Most cost $500 to $800. There's no way we can pay for driving school. Buy a car for each child or carry insurance with a large family on one income. Bates family, 8 children. Ooh, I feel your pain. You know why I feel your pain? Because I have taught 7 children to drive. Do you know why? I'm only 30 and I have white hair because I have had to teach. I'm not only 30, but I have white hair because of my children. There's a fight or flight reflex, and I have a fight reflex. My kids know not to scare me because generally I will punch, kick, bite, you name it, and I don't often come to until I've reacted. My oldest was just about hit something when she was driving, and I clocked her. And I didn't. I certainly would never endorse it. I'm not proud of it. Thankfully, she survived, but I was so terrified. I reacted, and so teaching driving has been a challenge. I think I'm much better. I'm much more prepared at my age to be with the Lord, and so I'm better. I typically, we go get a permit, and then I put them right on the road. My last child, he got his permit, and we went right to the highway, got on an exit, and we went highway driving. And so I typically like throwing people that I mentor in or I'm teaching something into the deep end, and then help them navigate the fear of the deep end and then the driving. And so we do that, but then we'll go to a dirt road and practice on a dirt road or, that type of thing. So I had a child who got a perfect score in New York where he had to do 3-point turns, parallel park, the whole deal, and he was able to get a perfect score. My last son, I taught him the ways, and he charmed the person that he was taking a license with. And so she actually gave him instructions all the way through the course. She'd be like, you're going to want to slow down. You're going to want to turn your signal on. And he had learned humility, and he connected with her, and she helped him, and he got a really good score and passed. He's probably one of the kids that I get more nervous about getting in the car with at this point, because he got by on charm more than skill, but it worked. It worked, and we got him through it. And Arkansas is way different than New York. In Arkansas, you get in the car, they get in with you, you drive down the road, you turn around, you come back, and you pull in the parking lot, and they give you your license. So in New York, you got to go through a school district, you got to drive through to make a left-hand turn in the light. You got to do 3-point turn, parallel park. It's like a whole different experience. So the first half of my children were taught to drive in New York, and now we definitely have had much easier in Arkansas. One thing I will say is I think having a 4-wheeler or having them use a lawnmower to learn the motor skills and the corrections helps a lot. My oldest did not have any experience before she got into a car. My boys had a go-kart or something like that, and they had driven a lawnmower. Huge difference. Huge difference. So there's a conversation that Kristen's having. It's making me a little bit, let's see. If you do take many steps backward. Oh, I see. Yes, I do not mean it. We had a situation here one day where someone was in the office, and there were people that were new to the company in the boardroom, and somebody came up behind me and they scared me and pushed my leg out from under me. And when I woke up, I had my hand holding their head, and I was going like this, and it was, they knew that I would respond that way. It had nothing to do with me trying to. It was completely a fight reaction. So I don't want to be scared. It's not because I've even tried. It's just the way my body responds. So awesome. Okay. Sound like a terrible person. Sarah, do you see any value in having children formally tested for giftedness? Wow. How does this group see giftedness and testing for giftedness? Sarah, I was not on that spectrum. So I think my gut reaction would be, the expectation would be you would just have that understanding of whether or not it was okay to feed the gift. I don't know that I would do it. I would use it more as an analytic, as a tool for you to understand, not as a tool to brand or give make that an identity. But yeah, so I see you're getting some feedback. So I think that's a really good question to ask in the group as well. I'd love to see the answers to that. Jen Taylor, did you have any of your high schoolers use their own planner to help them learn how to navigate their own plans and time? I have a planner. I use it for my kids' all homeschool things, but my high school seems fairly oblivious to his own schedule outside of our daily school, work for extracurriculars, high school, church events, etc. I don't think our kids had their own planner. Kristen prepares generally their academic plan, and they work off from that every year. And that's been pretty standard. As far as a schedule, I think she also has often done a schedule for the kids where it's like 9 o'clock is when school begins. I think we're kind of lax on that with the last two, but that's something that I don't think that they had their own planner or that we've done that. So Kristen's tattling on me with not always knowing. So okay. Let's see. So Jen, I don't know that I have an answer. I do think it's important to have a schedule, at least at some level. And I think that cadence or that rhythm of the schooling or life helps. But I don't think that we've ever actually bought them their own planner and had them do it at that level. Not that it wouldn't have been a good idea, just I don't think that was on the radar. Or maybe it was, and Kristen's going to say she's had a planner for them for the last 30 years of home education. Okay, Michelle. So with the new timeline of American history coming out, Barbara D. and I are wondering if you'd consider writing a one-year elementary course to go with it, similar to how you wrote elementary world history you report. We'd love to see a one-year course that teaches a broad overview of American history, specifically goes with the new timeline. Interesting. I think I'd be open to writing it. I think one of the challenges I have right now is capacity to do it. We stay pretty busy here at the press and personal, and writing a course is a tremendous amount of work. And I'm not gifted the way some are to be able to write. Kristen has cranked out so many volumes of language lessons and goes through curriculum. But Kristen's the kind of person who can sit down and read a book in 2 hours, and I finish it in 2 to 3 weeks, right? So, which is why you report is written the way it is. So That's good feedback, Michelle. I certainly would consider it. Jamie, will there be more God's Design beginners science books releasing in the series? At this point, we don't have any more God's Design beginners than the two that are available. Kim, now Kelly, I'd love to hear any tips for keeping motivated while dealing with sickness in the home. My son currently has strep, so we're trying to rest and also get some schoolwork and housework done. Yeah, I think Kristen can weigh in here as well. But when the kids are sick, if the kids are sick, we often haven't required them to continue doing school. If it's just it's in the house and we're all trying to navigate it, I think it's a season, and often that you just have to kind of adjust to. And when they can work and do school, but it's hard when you're sick or other people are sick, it's like a season. Okay, the beauty of Masterbook's curriculum is its flexibility. If you're off for a week, it's not overwhelming to catch up or to just make an adjustment. And so it's not like with the school that I went to, Kristen went to, you had to do 4 pages of long division a day. And when you got a week behind, you were 12 to 15 pages of long division behind. When you're behind with master books, you're not anywhere near that behind, especially in the lower grades. Excuse me. And so I think part of this, a curriculum for real world is something I say. And the idea is life happens. And if we homeschool 3 days a week, or we didn't homeschool last week, but we jump in this week, it's doable because life happens. And we do have sickness in the home. So at different times, or we have different life events. So I think the beauty of working with a curriculum like Master Books is the adaptability to do that. And then, you know what, if you said, hey, we're gonna do the basics to catch up, and we're just gonna jump in wherever, or just read and then jump in with the activity sheets wherever. I think you have so much flexibility to make the curriculum yours and to understand the schedule. Some curriculums also aren't really good at letting you know where you are in the school year. So I think one of the beauties of the Masterbook method is that you can tell really quickly if you are are you woefully behind? Are you ahead? What's it going to take to be on track based on where we are on day 1 and where we are on day 180 and where that lines up. And then each quarter, right? Because it's broken down by 9-week quarters. It's broken down by semesters 1 and 2, and then the full year. So, okay. Cypress says, we love Angela Dell's writing style. Do you know when her high school American history will be ready to purchase? When will World Story 2 and 3 have an audiobook? That's a good question. Angela, I think, is going to be working on the audiobook. And I think that the America story should be available in the probably late spring, early summer. So we have the manuscript in house, and we'll be working with that pretty soon. So let's see. I saw Jamie, would Masterbooks considered 150, 160 lessons instead of the full 180 for the future releases? Now the 180 is kind of our MO, and some of that is because if you break the coursework down over the 180, it's very doable. It gives you room, and it's easy enough. A family who wanted to do 160 days could do that, right? Because you're talking 20 days, and you're just, how many extra lessons would you have to do? And so you could do the math pretty quick to say every quarter we've got to do 5 extra lessons, and now we're on a 160-day schedule. So the framework over the full 180 days. And now with every course, that's also not a, some courses are 3 days a week, some courses are 4. So there's some flexibility there as well if you were doing days. But the 180 is kind of our standard MO, typical school year. And a lot of that also is a way that for homeschoolers to navigate the complexity of, hey, this is a school year, this is the way. If I stay in that mindset, it's much easier to translate it out when you're working with school districts and stuff like that. So awesome. Well, I think I got through all my questions, and let's see. Yep. Awesome. Well, hey guys, it is a privilege to be here. We do have a new book. I didn't bring it with me, but there is it's the True Stories Bible, and True Stories About Jesus Bible, and it looks awesome. And next time I come in, I will definitely have to kind of talk about that. I've got another product here. I can't show it to you, but I wish I could. Coming soon. I've got some fun projects. So good deal. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a blessed week. Here, last week in Arkansas, it was snowing. We were home for a couple days, and then it was below zero. Now it's like in the 70s and gorgeous, and so spring is coming. This is the time of year when hope begins to spring forth, and especially with homeschool. So, yes, awesome. Yeah, if you're familiar with Practice Makes Perfect, Kristen is writing a Practice Makes Polished for language lessons for the levels 1 through 6 to begin with. And I think that'll be a great product for families who want a little extra practice and or review on some existing projects. So, good. All right, guys. Well, I'm glad the camera worked and appreciate y'all. So, let's see. Yep. Good. All right. Hey, well, God bless. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Thank you all for your questions. Sincerely appreciate it. And we will talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye.